This knowledge has literally changed my life. I was outraged that I wasn't taught any of this stuff. It's the most noticeable part of your cycle when there's some blood in your knickers. Hi, my name is Tally, welcome back to my channel, and today we're talking about periods. Kind of a taboo topic, some might say, but definitely something that needs talked about. We'll start with a little flashback to when I was young. I had no idea about periods. When I found out at school in those shocking sex education classes, I was outraged. I could not believe that I was gonna have to bleed every month and put up with that. I was shocked and outraged. Now let's fast forward to 2018. I was 24 at the time and I learnt so much more about periods than I'd ever been taught before. And that outrage came back. I was outraged that I wasn't taught any of this stuff. And since then, I've become obsessed with learning about periods and learning about something called cycle awareness, which is when you are aware of and live in alignment with your menstrual cycle and or the lunar cycle. And this knowledge has literally changed my life. It's changed how I think about myself, it's changed how I think about others, it's changed how I live my life and I act, and I'm still outraged that I didn't know about this sooner. So here are the basics of cycle awareness that I wish I knew. The menstrual cycle is not just the time when you're bleeding, it's the whole cycle. On average, they're 28 days long, but only 12.4% of people with periods actually have 28-day long cycles. And while your period is seen as the main event, it's the most noticeable part of your cycle when there's some blood in your knickers, there is stuff going on throughout the whole cycle. Your hormones are fluctuating throughout the cycle, your brain chemistry literally changes at different points in your cycle, and that affects everything. Your mental, your physical, and your emotional wellness. This stuff is real, it's not all in your head. The menstrual cycle can be divided into 4 phases. The menstrual phase, when you're actually bleeding, the pre-ovulatory phase, in between bleeding and ovulation, the ovulatory phase, around when you're ovulating, and the pre-menstrual phase, from ovulation to when you bleed again. And these 4 phases can be equated to the 4 seasons of the year: winter, spring, summer, autumn. And if you don't have a menstrual cycle and you want to live in a cycle-informed way, in alignment with the cycle, then you can equate the 4 seasons to 4 phases of the moon. They're described as the 4 seasons just to give you a more tangible and less scientific word for describing each phase, and it kind of relates to how you might feel in each phase as well. So I'm going to explain a little bit about what happens in each phase with your hormones and how you might be feeling, and then in the next video I'm going to talk about what you can do in each phase to live intentionally and to map your life and how you live onto your menstrual cycle. So in winter, just picture like a cold, wintry scene, animals are hibernating, there's no leaves on the plants. Winter is when you are tired, your hormone levels are right down low and you just want to stay in bed and rest. You might experience some cramping while you're bleeding in your winter, and that's because the same muscles that contract during childbirth to stop you losing too much blood and to get baby out, the same muscles are contracting with every single period. Isn't that wild? Your body is literally practicing for if you were to have a baby. And this is also why you get period poos. The same hormones that get everything moving in your womb to clear out the lining of your uterus also get your bowels moving. So while mild cramping is common and normal, period pain is not acceptable. The charity Bloody Good Period did some research, and 50% of the people they asked said that while they were on their period, they had to stop work to take a painkiller. If the pain is so much that you rely on painkillers, that you have to stop what you're doing, if you feel the pain in other areas of your body like your lower back or your thighs, then this is not normal. Talk to your GP and be firm with them to get an answer. Now let's move on to spring. This is when your bleed has stopped and your hormone levels are starting to rise, and as will your energy levels. However, your energy levels won't be at their peak, they're just creeping up, gently rising, so still going easy on yourself and still resting. So in this time you might find you're quite playful, quite creative, want to have a bit of fun, which is amazing, but do go easy on yourself still. It's just like if you can imagine a new plant in spring, it's just starting to come up out of the ground, the new leaves are starting to come, so it's showing its face, but it's still really fragile. Now let's move on to summer. That is when everything is peaking, the peak season, your estrogen levels are peaking, all of your hormones are peaking, and ovulation might happen here. The rising levels of estrogen might mean that you're high energy, you're sociable, you're chatty, and even your face is more symmetrical. Isn't that wild? Your face literally changes throughout your cycle. However, some people in this phase might feel scatterbrained, anxious, easily distracted. This is because estrogen wants us to be out in the world, finding a new mate from a diverse gene pool, and in this phase of your cycle it's very much go, 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 get the thing done. And if you're not quite sure of your place in life, if you haven't found your path yet, this can be quite unnerving to have all this energy and not know what to channel it into. So in autumn, things are starting to slow down a bit. Estrogen levels drop and progesterone kicks in. Your attention will start to turn inwards again, you'll start to slow down, and you also might feel all of the intense feelings. All of the feels are going on in autumn. However, you might also find that in autumn it's quite chill, it's quite calming. That's because progesterone is a calming hormone. So you might prefer autumn to summer. And then we come back to winter and it cycles again and again and again. Just a note, if you are on hormonal contraceptives, you won't have a cycle. That's because the contraceptives disrupt the hormone fluctuations which result in the 4 seasons, in ovulation and in a period. So if you bleed while you're on a hormonal contraceptive, that's not a real period, it's a withdrawal bleed. But as I said at the start, if you don't have a period, like if you're on a hormonal contraceptive, you can use the lunar phases and the lunar cycle to experience these 4 seasons. If this has been interesting to you, then I want to let you know about a new venture that I have coming up, which is called Flow Cycle Yoga. If you don't know, I am a yoga teacher and I'm also very into cycle awareness, if you couldn't tell from this video. And Flow Cycle Yoga is bringing the two together. It's a monthly membership where you'll get 4 classes which are tailored to each phase of the menstrual or lunar cycle, and you can practice the classes in alignment with your own cycle. We'll then also have sharing circles where you can meet other people and build a bit of community, and I am just so excited for this to launch. If this sounds like something you'd be interested in, you can head to the description box where you can sign up to my mailing list to be the first to hear when it launches. And if you're watching this at a later date, it might already be launched, so head to the description box and I'll put all of the information and links there. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know in the comments if you've learned something new, if something's blown your mind, like all of this blew my mind when I first learned about it. If you've liked this, you can give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to see more videos from me. And I'll see you in the next one, in which we'll be talking about what you can do in each phase of the cycle to live in alignment and live in harmony with it.